And joining us now on our Book Talk segment, great to welcome a woman who's written a book for any parent out there that has more than one child or maybe is expecting more than one. It's called Peaceful Parent, Happy Siblings, How to Stop the Fighting and Raise Friends for Life. And we're joined today by Dr. Laura Markham, and she's based up in New York, has a very successful blog and website called ahaparenting.com. We'll find out about that as well. She joined us on the telephone. Doctor, thanks for being with us. How are you?
I'm great. Glad to be here today, Doug.
Yeah, how are things up in Brooklyn? I was born there. I didn't live there. I lived on Long Island, but how are things up there today?
Well, not as beautiful as in your neck of the woods, but we're getting spring finally,
that's good to hear. Well, I was interested in this book. Now, I have one sister, and we always got along pretty well, so I don't think our parents had too much trouble with us, but I know it is a bit of an issue with a lot of parents with more than one child, isn't it? Having them get along with each other.
You know, I hear from parents that it's the worst part of parenting is when their kids go at each other and they don't know how to solve it, the parent, and they can't think straight for the shouting, and they don't know how to intervene. So I wrote this book to help families when the second child is born to get off on a good foot, and also to help, you know, if you've got kids who are older and who are squabbling, to help you as a parent have the tools to teach your kids the skills they need to get along with each other, to resolve disputes. And that not only allows you to raise kids who get along and can be friends for life, it also gives your kids the tools they need to build rewarding relationships for the rest of your child's life.
Yeah, I've always heard, hear the stories many times. You bring home a second baby, and the other child might be 2, 3, 4 years old, and there's a jealousy factor there. I don't know how prevalent that is anymore, but I guess that's where it starts, right? The rivalry.
I think it's universal. I don't think there's a child in the world who, when you bring home the second child, doesn't say, wait a minute, that's a competitor. You know, there's only so much. Love may be unlimited, but there's only two hands. My mom and dad each only have two hands, and there's limited time and attention. And, you know, in a way, you could think of it as our genetics go back to the Stone Age. And so here's, you know, the 4-year-old or the 3-year-old looking at the baby, and even if they can't articulate it, on some level, their alarm system is going, if a tiger jumps out of the bushes, who's she going to save? Who's mom going to save, right? You know, the baby. So, yeah, I think that rivalry is universal. In fact, my son looked at my daughter when we brought her home, and he said, can we send her back?
Now, you came from, your family is 4 or 5 kids, right? So you've been through this, haven't you?
No. I only raised 2 kids.
Oh, you did 2?
I was not brave enough to raise more than 2. In fact, I think it's really, really hard to raise big families, and I am a total admirer of parents who are able to do that well.
Oh, I thought maybe in the book. Did you come from a family of 4 or 5 kids then, growing up? Maybe that's where
I did.
Yeah, okay, maybe that's where I read that. Right, you had a lot of siblings
that's
yourself.
What you meant. Yeah, I do.
Was that an issue growing up that you remember in your family?
Well, you know, my parents were divorced, so I had essentially 2 separate families. You know, they had 3 kids. They split up. My dad had 3 more kids. My mom had 1 more kid. So I had a lot of siblings, but there were the step-family dynamics to navigate as well. So all that gets complicated. But yes, I think the more children you have in a family, the more complicated the dynamics get, and also the harder it is for the parents to have a great relationship with each child. And that's one of the insurance factors. You know, we know that when kids feel very connected to a parent, they're less jealous of their siblings. You know, when they feel less connected, like, you know, mom, dad really don't have time for me, they're distracted, they're more jealous of their siblings because it seems like they're scarce resources and they have to battle it out.
I guess that show, The Brady Bunch, really depicted that, didn't it? Two blended families. They had all the stories about the kids. Some of them didn't get along at times. So I know it was kind of lighthearted, but that did kind of illustrate that, didn't it?
It certainly did. And, you know, conflict is part of every human relationship. So we can't expect our kids to always get along. But what we can do is we can help them with the feelings that are driving them to be mean to their siblings, and we can also give them the skills so they actually can work things out when it's a disagreement over a toy or, you know, different needs like who's going to get in the bathroom first or, you know, you're singing loudly when I want peace and quiet to draw. You know, we can help kids have the tools to work those things out with each other. And I think that's our job as parents, and that's why I wrote the book, is that it has those tools for parents to use with kids. And it also has ways for you to help your kids have positive interactions every single day. Because the research shows that while kids will always fight some, and you can tone it down, but they will always fight some, what matters most is, do they have positive interactions every day also? Because that's the best indicator for whether they'll eventually stay close as they get older.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the kids having disagreements, as long as it doesn't get too physical. I mean, that's normal. You're going to have that, right? But don't let it get out of hand, right? Yeah. You talk about building an emotion.
Exactly, and that's hard.
Go ahead. I was
going to say that's hard. When emotions run hot, parents, when they're little kids, they're going to, often we say use your words. They don't know what words to use. She took my toy, and they just lash out, right? So it's our job to get in there and, set some standards of civility, like, whoa, no hitting. Hitting hurts. Stop, everybody stop, let's take a deep breath. Okay, what's going on here? That's our job. But over time, they do learn to use their words if we can help them discover what words are effective.
Yeah. One thing I really appreciate you writing in the book, and I never really understood the whole concept, avoid timeouts. I never got that. We didn't do it in our family. But in schools you hear about that all the time, giving a timeout. I never got that. Timeouts are for sports.
Yeah, timeout is the right thing to do in sports. Exactly right. I think parents think it's a chance for everyone to calm down, but there's a better way to do it. Because, imagine your boys are building towers together very happily with their blocks, and then all of a sudden, they get into a dispute over some special block they both want, and one of them knocks down the other one's tower. And the little one is crying because his tower's knocked down, and you go in there with your guns blazing, you're the savior, the parent, and you say, you know better, you're the big brother, come on over here, time out for you, you think about what you did wrong, and you walk away. Now, first of all, your kid may fight with you and not want to stay in timeout, and then you have a whole power struggle. But even if he stays in timeout, what's he thinking? Is he thinking, oh, I'd like to be a better brother, I'm going to be nicer to my brother next time? No, he's thinking it was all my brother's fault. He's the one who called me a name. Yeah, we fought over the block, but he called me a name, and of course I knocked down his tower. He called me a name. It was his fault. So he's not taking responsibility. He's on the defensive. And in fact, you're worsening the sibling rivalry. He's also thinking, he's Mom's favorite. She always sticks up for him. She always acts like I'm the one who's wrong, just because I'm oldest. So you're making the sibling rivalry worse, right?
Yeah.
If instead you go in there and you take a deep breath and you say, it's not an emergency, and you help each kid tell their side of the story, and you say, wow, we have two brothers whose feelings are both hurt. What could you both do to make this better? What you'll see is the kids will, by then, they're feeling better. They've told you their stories. It's been acknowledged that, yes, it hurt your feelings when he called you a name. He's starting to take responsibility for knocking down the tower. He looks at his brother and he says, I'll help you build the tower again if you promise you won't call me names anymore. And now we have repair. We have bonding. That's what we wanted.
What's the biggest mistake you found in your research parents make with this when this comes up?
They forget they're the role model.
Yeah.
We get so, upset. We start, the kids think it's an emergency. They're in fight, flight, or freeze, so the sibling looks like the enemy to them. And we go into a state of emergency, too. We forget we're the grown-ups. We're supposed to act like the grown-ups. We're the role model, which means you don't need to yell. Stop, take a deep breath. It's not an emergency. Go in there and role model how people should solve problems, not by yelling.
Yeah. Well, great tips and stories in the book, again, called Peaceful Parent, Happy Siblings. And we've been talking with Dr. Laura Markham. She, again, the founder of ahaparenting.com. I know that's been a very successful, I guess it's a blog, right, where you write different columns all the time, and you got a lot of subscribers. So you're reaching a lot of people with that. That's good.
I think parents need all the support they can get. It's the hardest job in the world. So I feel lucky every day that I get to do this work.
Yeah. And the book, I know just comes out today as we talk, but let people know where they can get it. Do you have a website you want to direct people to?
ahaparenting.com, like aha moments, A-H-A, parenting.com. And the book is Peaceful Parent, Happy Siblings. It's available wherever books are sold. If your bookstore doesn't have it, ask them to order it.
Great. Doctor, appreciate you taking a few minutes. Good luck with the book, and hopefully we can talk to you again. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Doug.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.